Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Shlok number 38. The chapter is entitled, The Cause of All Causes. The Cause of All Causes. Text number 38. The chapter has got 42 texts, so it's only 4 texts remaining and then it comes to the end. Buloka kalpita padvyam Uvalokosya nabitam Hirda swaloka urasa Mahaloko mahatmana Uloka kalpita padhyam Uvalokosya nabitam Hirda swaloka urasa Mahaloko mahatmana Buloka kalpita padhyam Uvaloko syanavitam Hirda Svaloka Urasa Mahaloka Mahatmana. Please chant. Aloka Shanavita Hirda Svaloka Urasa Mahaloka Mahatmana. Uloka Kalpita Padyam Uvaloko Syanapita Ida Svaloka Urasa Mahaloko Mahatmana. Uloka Kalpita Padyam Uvaloko Syanapita Ida Svaloka Urasa Mahaloko Mahatmana. Uvaloko Syanapita Hidda Svaloka Urasa Mahaloko Mahatmana. Uloka Kalpita Padyam Uvaloko Syanapita Hirda Svaloka Urasa Mahaloko Mahatmana. Uloka Kalpita Padyam Uvaloko Syanapita Hirda Svaloka Urasa. We can see word to word meaning. Oh, ladies, please. No shloka. Word to word meaning. Yeah, you have to sit there. Boo. The lower planetary systems up to the stratum of the earth. Loka, the planets. Kalpita, it is so imagined or said. Padyam, out of the legs. Bhuvan, the upper. Loka, the planetary system. Asya, of him, the Lord. Nabita, from the navel abdomen. Hirda, by the heart. Svaloka, the planetary systems. Occupied by the demigods. Urasa, by the chest. Mahaloka, the planetary system. Occupied by great sages and the saints. Mahatmana, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. S.E. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada came. The lower planetary systems, up to the limits of the earthly stratum, are said to be situated in His legs. In other words, in the legs of the Supreme Personality of God. The middle planetary systems, beginning from Bhuvaloka, are situated in His navel. And the still higher planetary systems occupied by the demigods and the higher cultured sages and saints, are situated in the chest of the Supreme Lord. Purport. There are 14 spheres of planetary systems within this universe. The lower systems are called Buloka. The middle systems are called Bubalok. And the higher planetary systems up to Brahmalok, the highest planetary system of the universe, they are called Svalok. And all of them are situated on the body of the Lord. In other words, no one within the universe is without a relationship with the Lord. Om Jana Timirandasya Jana Shalakaya Chakshulu Militam Yena Tasma Shri Pravenama Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dada Visva Padandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Hey Gaurange Radhe Dinavaneshware Vrishabhanoste Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanja Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya Evacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srimad Guru Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare something. Sadvaitam, Savadutam, Parijana Sahitam, Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Shirada Krishna Padan, Sahagana Lalita, Shimsha Kamsamsha. Very, very important. Yes. So, our today's verse is like, there is nothing we can talk about, but there is a lot we can talk until evening. It looks like it's talking about planets, lower, middle, higher. It's like, what is all this? It's like there's nothing we can talk about here, but there's a lot we can discuss about here. Number one, this chapter is entitled, The Cause of All Causes. Sometimes we think that we can cause something. Oh, I bought this car, I'm the cause. Because I'm the one who looked for the money. You know. But this chapter is entitled The Cause of All Causes. Which means we have to be really sensitive to this cause of all causes. That's number one. Number two, this chapter is spoken by Lord Brahma himself. Lord Brahma is the one speaking this chapter. Not only this verse, he is speaking the whole chapter composed of 42 verses. Lord Brahma. And he is speaking to no other than the great sage, Narada Muni. Just see how this chapter is so special. Narada Muni is speaking, Lord Brahma is speaking, and he is speaking to another great sage, Narada Muni. Very, very important chapter. Very, very important chapter. And this verse of today, Lord Brahma is talking about the planetary systems. Meaning, all these planets, the cause is no other than the cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned that Ishvara Para. What is the verse?
Ishvara
Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda Sarva Karana. So Lord Brahma, in the opening of Brahma Samhita, he mentioned how Lord Krishna is Sarva Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. And our chapter today, the cause of all causes. Very, very amazing. So, the chapter begins by Narada Muni asking a question. And not only one question, many, many questions. And first of all, Narada Muni is first glorifying Lord Brahma being the chief of the demigods and the first living entity. Imagine, we are talking about the first living entity being asked questions by the great Narada Muni to explain different issues. But the most important part of this is that Narada Muni is calling, or rather is asking Lord Brahma to tell about Gyan, to talk about that knowledge, Without knowledge, we are fools. Only when we get knowledge, we can understand something. So he's asking Lord Brahma to tell that transcendental knowledge, which specifically directs one to the truth of the individual soul. Atma Tattva. Atma Tattva means the truth of the individual soul and the super soul. Very, very amazing. So, Narada Muni is not asking Lord Brahma, first of all, to describe anything else. He is asking him to describe the Atma Tattva, the truth of the soul and the super soul. Very, very important. And the chapter goes on. Narada Muni is asking Lord Brahma, after explaining the truth of the soul, the Atma Tattva of the soul and the super soul, that knowledge, after giving me that knowledge, still explain to me about the planetary systems, how it is, explain to me everything, the senses, the mind, the intelligence, all those things. Earth, water, fire, air, intelligence, mind, intelligence, and force ego. See? And it is not only in this chapter, but in the whole Bhagavatam, such topics are discussed many, many times and in many, many places. Why? Because we have to understand the cause of all causes first, before we can go to any other topic. Because after understanding the cause of all causes, that is the only time we can enter into bhakti. Why? Because we are in the darkness of false ego. We are in the deep darkness of false ego. So when we understand who is the cause of all causes, Sarva Karanam, as explained by Narada Muni, as explained by Lord Brahma in Brahma Samhita, and also in this particular chapter, then that's the only time we can clear our false ego. And there is something very, very important mentioned in this chapter that very, very important, that as we know, we have the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. It's mentioned that from the sky, this is very technical. It's mentioned that from the sky, sound was manifested. Sound. Very, very important. This is a very important aspect about sound. And as we know, like when Govinda Prem was playing the harmonium, from the sound we can understand that is harmonium. When we hear curtains, we can understand from the sound what is that object. So sound is very, very important. That's why at the two corners there is that poster of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a sound. Sound is a big, big issue. That's why it was the first one to be transformed from the sky. Sound. You are hearing me now, not because of anything else, because of sound. Like that. And it goes on to so many other aspects that when Lord Brahma was doing the creation, after doing meditation, he was told to listen to that sound. And what was the sound? What was the sound? Tapa. You go and do meditation. He could not have understood without that sound. So in our today's morning class, what Brahma explains, as the verses go by, before he came to explain about the different planetary systems, something very important he talked about sound, which was transformed from the sky, and it was the first. Then from there, from the air, other different things came up, including form and the like. But this sound is super special. Lord Brahma he had the sound of tapa. Okay, the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra is also tapa. Is also sound. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is sound. But sometimes we don't want to be attentive to that sound. Very, very important. Lord Brahma spoke about sound. In other words, when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because from the sky came the sound, of which we understand many things because of sound. And as we go on from the sky, air, water, something called form came up. I think form came from, for those who know, I think the form, Govinda Prem, where did the form come from 5 elements? From the sight. So if somebody comes here, we are chanting Hare Krishna, we are trying to concentrate on that sound, and from the eyes, from sight, we see a form of dollars. Many of you will forget about the Maha Mantra and then jump into the dollars, because dollars is because sense gratification. That's why it is mentioned here, the false ego, we can clear it by the sound vibration. That's why it is mentioned also in the second Shikshashtakam. Namna makariba udaniya savashaktis. Tatrapitaniya mitas paranena kala etadis sabakriba bhagavan mamapi. Sound is also mentioned there. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We have this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is invested in these names. And we have to say it in the form of sound. But somehow or other, we are so unfortunate. We don't have attraction for this sound vibration of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Lord Chaitanya, he has instructed us that in the holy names of the Lord, as a sound representation of the Lord, all the potencies of the Lord, they are invested. All the potencies of the Lord, they are invested in that sound of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Very, very amazing. Thus one can immediately enjoy the association of the Lord by the pure vibration of that sound representation of his holy name. So the holy name is special, super special. Sometimes I may be feeling I don't want to chant, but I should understand that everything is invested in this sound of the holy name. Sometimes I may feel like I better make my other senses enjoy in different ways, but that hearing, the sound of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is all in all. That is explained in this chapter. And Lord Brahma is the one who spoke about all that. It's the same Lord Brahma who spoke many verses in Brahma Samhita, glorifying the cause of all causes. So we can only, in this age of Kali, embrace the mercy of the Supreme Lord only through the sound vibration of his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the concept of the Lord is immediately manifested to the devotee. And the devotee, therefore, is not aloof from the Lord even for a moment. And the holy name of the Lord, as recommended in the Shastras, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, may therefore be constantly chanted by the devotee who is aspiring to be constantly in touch with the Supreme Lord. So one who thus is able to associate with the Lord is sure to be delivered from the darkness of the created world. We are in the darkness of this created world simply because we identify ourselves with false ego. Very, very important chapter. Super important chapter. It talks about the cause of all causes, and it is spoken by no other. It is spoken by no other than Lord Brahma. And he was talking to Narada Muni. Narada Muni wanted to know all that. Very important to understand is that, very important to understand is that Narada Muni and Lord Brahma, they are not ordinary living beings. So this chapter, the cause of all causes spoken by Lord Brahma to Narada Muni, is very, very important for us today. So long as we are living in this material world, it's very, very important to understand that Lord Krishna is the cause of all causes, and we are only here to become his servants. But in most cases we forget that. It's very easy to forget because of the false ego. And all these things, they were created. And Lord Brahma says openly that I am not the creator of these things. I have been given the power by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to do all this. So Krishna is the cause of all causes. And when one comes to this gyan, when one comes to this knowledge of understanding, actually we are not this body, but we are the soul. Understanding the Atma Tattva. What is the soul? One will do whatever it takes to minimize sense gratification as much as possible, so that we can become true servants of the Supreme Personality of God. So that's all what I have to say for today. The chapter looks like, what is all this? But it is a lot. Number one, it was spoken by Lord Brahma, and he was speaking to Narada Muni. Two great sages, but for us, especially to understand about the sound vibration. And sound was the first to be transformed. Sound was transformed from the sky, and the sky was the number one to be manifested. So, yeah, like that. Even Arjuna, he was a constant companion, constant, all the time, of Lord Krishna. But Arjuna, it reached to a time when he was like perplexed. Arjuna was not perplexed at all. Arjuna was perplexed so that we can understand Bhagavad Gita today. We can understand the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. But sometimes we finish a day even without looking at Bhagavad Gita. So we become totally perplexed. We only think about, ahangara. We only think about this body. But to come to the platform of the first question, which was asked by Narada Muni about Atma Tattva, we have to do whatever it takes. We have to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that's the first one. The aim of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is put there. One of them is that we get out of the bodily concepts. We stop thinking that we are this body. It's just right there. And that is the most important. On the other side is showing how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so much spoke about this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is all in all. So we have to get to this sound vibration of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and our life will be successful. Srila Prabhupada, he actually started Iskcon through the sound vibration of the Mahamantra. And a tree, I've never been there. Luckily, Mahamantra Prabhu went to that tree in America. That's where, through the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we get this temple in Mombasa today. Prabhupada went there. He only used the sound vibration of the holy names. So if we take it seriously, especially me, to this chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, our lives will be successful and we will get out of the bodily concept of life which is attacking me and everyone here and is a hard struggle. Hare Krishna. Hare. So any question? Jai! Please, and you need to be put in the video when you are asking the question. Please ask. The tree, Mahamantra Prabhu, is that tree still alive? He wants to go and see that tree.
Next time we go with him.
You go, huh?
We'll take him there.
Yeah, so the tree is still alive? Yes, the tree where Prabhupada started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that sound vibration of the holy names is still alive. Mahamantra Prabhu is telling us. So if you are eager to go and see it, Krishna is hearing, you make sure that you go there. Hare Krishna! Thank you very much. No more questions. Huh?
So sounds only creates a sound, also is destroyed also.
Sound?
Yeah.
I feel like...
What creates, what destroys? Sound.
What creates and what destroys sound?
What type of sound?
The transcendental vibration, for sure, that will never be destroyed. But, I'm not 100% sure what I can say, but I feel like when everything goes back to Lord Brahma, even the sound goes back. Because he has to start creating again. The creation has to start again. From the Mahatattva, of course the first thing to come from the Mahatattva is from the 5 elements, the sky is the sound. Then the other elements come. So I feel the Mahamantra, no one can destroy, even Lord Brahma. Even Lord Brahma can't destroy the Mahamantra. But all other sounds, the sound of, can you bring that spare part, I want to fix it in the car. Whoever is hearing that sound will go back again. Whatever sound. Yeah, sound is the form of destruction, which Mahamantra Prabhu is saying that Hiranyakashipu, there was that roaring sound. So sound will come and destroy it.
And Hare Krishna mantra you do so much, then all your material things will go finish.
I think the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, destroys those sounds of material sounds.
No, all material things.
Yeah, all material things. Huh?
Have been finished.
You please give us next class and tell us more about these sounds. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We only go deep into the sound vibration of the Holy